Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday to you. And how are you doing today? And I also hope you are preparing and getting ready for the new week. Well, in this video, we shall be adding one more instrument to the couple of publication I did earlier. And this time around, we are going to be taking a technical dissection on the GBPUSD chart. And since this is going to be a follow up detail to my previous analysis, I would like to share with you some key moments that we had during the course of last week's trading session as we were able to make approximately 300 to about 350 pips in profit on the positions we took advantage of last week. So, in that regard, let's quickly run through what really happened during the course of last week's trading session before we go into the detail of what our expectations are this week. Well, this always gives us a background knowledge of what to expect as we already know where we are coming from, and we shall be using what we did last week to project what might likely come in the coming week. Now, the beginning of the week started with a situation here where we saw how price action was trading just around the 1.2200 level, a level which was our key structure prior to the beginning of last week trading session. And in this situation here, we saw how price action traded between the 1.22100 level and the 1.2170 area, giving us a clue that there is an indecision in this market. And you all know what we look out for whenever we have this kind of simple setup. We want to see price action do either a breakout or breakdown of this channel for trading opportunities. So with our sell stop and buy stop order placed at the most appropriate area around that structure, we had our first position triggered as soon as price action broke out the resistant line at the 1.22100 area. And one thing I told us here, we should secure our position as we look forward to adding more position at the breakout of the 1.22450 level. And this was what happened afterwards. Price action triggered our second position as we continue to ride the move all the way to the upside. So it continued like that until the second day, that was on Tuesday, when we started seeing some selling pressure resume around the structure. And what we did immediately, we saw this kind of situation was to um, obviously, we were taking out of our buy position, so we were anticipating the possibilities of sellers coming in while we have a buy stop order around the 1.22600 level to trigger a buy position. And you can see what we had here. We had the first breakdown of that bullish trend line. And one thing we said here is that we are going to be selling if price action does a retest of that structure. And this was exactly what happened. We saw a sell opportunity here and we rode the move all the way into the 1.2200 level, which shares a confluence with that bullish trend line we identified at the beginning of the week. And this trend line obviously has been supporting that bullish momentum for the past couple of weeks. And looking at this, we secured our position. And as soon as price got into the structure, we begin to see buy pressure resumed. And we anticipated a buy position after seeing this buy pressure continue here. Immediately we went down to the 15 minutes time frame to identify a simple setup here where we were looking out for a breakout of the 1.22250 level for another opportunity to buy. With a buy stop order above that structure, we saw this buy position triggered during the early hours of the Wednesday's trading session. We secured this position here, looking forward to more opportunities as we saw as soon as price got into the 1.22850 level, we begin to see sell pressure. And when we consider the nature of the memory around that area, which is more of a bearish expectations here, as we saw what happened at the beginning of the week around this area. During my morning live session that day, I told us all to look out for selling opportunities around this area, considering the selling memory around that level. And in order to buttress this and to find a simple setup that we can use to guide trading activities there, We scaled down to a much more lower time frame like the 5 minutes time frame, and this was what we were able to find here. And with a breakdown of the 1.2280 level, we had our sell stop triggered and we continued to join the move all the way to the downside, adding more positions at breakdowns of key levels like the 1.226, 1.2245, and at this point we had a buy pressure resume, and obviously we'd moved our stop loss accordingly to lock in some profit here. And during the FOMC, we saw this huge spike to the upside, which I actually missed at that point, and then we wait for price action to normalize a little bit so that we can look out for more opportunities. Then on this that night, I think the last trading hours of the New York session that day, I shared a simple setup here where we were using the 1.22500 level as a yardstick for trading activity. And what happened afterwards, by pressure resume above that level, triggered our buy position, and at this point we had another buy position running in profit. Then on the 23rd of March, we saw selling pressure resume around this area, which gave us the inclination that we might be seeing selling opportunity. And with a sell stop order below the 1.23100 level, we saw an opportunity to join a decline to the downside. We had our position triggered and sell momentum continued to the downside, breaking down the bullish trend line we had here, and we continue to rather move all the way to the downside during the later part of last week. So it was quite a profitable week for us on the GBPUSD, as you can see here. But if you want to have a one-on-one review of this, I will be dropping the link to this commentary right in the comment section of this video. And if you are watching this video from my YouTube channel, you will be seeing the link at the top right hand side of your screen right now. So, with that being said, here let's dive into the current market structure as I will be taking you through what I'm going to be looking at on the daily time frame. So, as we can see the daily time frame here, we have a simple setup here where it is quite obvious that price action had been bullish in the last 5 to 6 months. And to further buttress this, we have a couple of bullish trend lines to emphasize the strength of of the buyers in this market. However, when you look at the current market structure here, you will see that since the month of December last year, price action has been trading between a range just right within the 1.24500 level and the 1.1800 area to emphasize the indecision in this market. As you can see here that the 1.2500 level has been a strong area for sellers in this market where they have been negating all attempt by the buyers to continue to trade to the upside. So with the situation we have here, we need to be very careful as we are caught within a channel right here where anything could actually happen to trigger a massive move to either the upside or to the downside. So what we are going to be doing here is to take a technical dissection of what is going on here in order to position ourselves in such a way that we can catch any of these potential trading opportunities. But if we look at what happened throughout the course of last week's trading session, we finally saw price action break out that key level at the 1.2200 level, which was actually our key level for last week. And I think it's going to remain as our key level for this trading week. And why have I said that? You can see that price action is still trading just right around that area, though we had a breakout of that structure, but we can see that this area is continuing to magnetize price action to its structure, and it could turn around to be a strong neckline for a possible reversal pattern at this point to trigger a sell momentum to the downside. This is a possibility we are going to be taking into consideration while we look at the market structure on a much more lower time frame. Then another thing about this area is that it could be a strong demand zone depending on how price action reacts with this level during the early hours of the week that will be determining if we are going to be buying the GBP USD. But before we go into the lower time frame so that we can have a better perspective of what is really going on around this area, I would like us to have a fundamental perspective into what will be driving price movement for this week. And I was able to pull out some couple of macroeconomic events. Obviously, we shall be focusing on events that will be affecting both the pound sterling and the dollar. And if you look at the macroeconomic event here, we have the first major event coming up on Monday, and that is the Bank of England's governor who is going to be having a speech. He, is going to be having a speech on that day. So we definitely want to be looking forward to what is going to be saying about the economic situation or the monetary policy of the UK government. So we are going to be looking forward to that, and obviously we shall be seeing the reflection of the anticipation of this event as price action on the chart. Then on Thursday, we have the GDP annualized for quarter four, which is going to be affecting the US decay here. And obviously, we know that the GDP shows the monetary value of all the goods, services, and structures produced within the US economy. It's a gross measure of market activities because it indicates the pace at which a country's economy is growing or decreasing. And as you can see here, we'll definitely want to be looking forward to that. As you will see, we have a previous data of 2.7% here, and we have a projection of 2.7. So we are going to be looking forward to the actual data if it's going to be falling as expected or beyond expectation or below expectations here. So we are going to be looking forward to that one too as well. And you can see here we have two macroeconomic events to look out for, and obviously this shall be bringing liquidity to this market to drive price movement. So going back into a much more lower time frame where I've said we I was able to identify a simple setup that we shall be using to guide our trading activity for this week. Now, on the 4 hours time frame, this was what I was able to identify here after taking into consideration what has been happening in this market since the second week of this month. And it is quite obvious that price action has been bullish here, as you can see. After connecting the series of higher lows, here we have a beautiful bullish trend line which has been supporting this bullish momentum in this market. However, after price action broke out of that key level we identified on the daily time frame around the 1.2222200 level there, we can see how price has been transitioning into something that looks like a reversal pattern. You can see that despite the breakout of that 1.220 level, we have been seeing a situation here where sellers continue to negate all attempt by the buyers to break out of that structure. And if we look at this structure closely, you will see that following the impulsive move that got to this point, it appears that price action is gradually transitioning into something that looks more like a reversal pattern in the form of a potential head and shoulder pattern, which we don't have the right shoulder formed yet, as we might likely see a situation where price might retest the 1.22800 level. Obviously, we know that whenever price action breaks down a key structure like this, we might likely see a retest of structure in anticipation of another wave of bearish momentum to the downside. So, because of these expectations here, we might likely see a retest of both the trend line and the 1.22800 level to trigger a sell position. And one thing we do here whenever we have a reversal pattern here, we need a neckline area, which definitely we shall be using to guide trading activity. And obviously, you can see, and coincidentally as well, we have the 1.2222200 level serving as a neckline of this potential reversal pattern, where a breakdown followed by selling pressure below the structure on our lower time frame will be giving us that leverage to join that bearish momentum to the downside. So on the GBPUSD, considering the selling pressure around the 1.23500 level and the 1.22800 area, and which also buttresses the sell momentum here, is the breakdown of that bullish trend line, which is happening for the first time in 2 weeks. So with this situation here, I'm of the opinion that we are going bearish in this particular market. However, in as much as we're looking out for selling opportunities here, we cannot ignore the possibility or the potentials of buyers in this particular market, as we need to be as fluid as possible so that we can be part of any momentum shift that happens in this market. So if we are considering the potentials of buyers in this market, what do we want to be seeing in this market so that we can be comfortable of buying the GBP USD? Well, personally, I would like to see price action break above the 1.22800 level, retest of structure, price climbs above the bullish trend line here, buying pressure above the structure, then I will be comfortable to buy the GBPUSD. And a further breakout of the 1.23500 level will definitely give us further confirmations to add more position to our existing trade. So at this point, I would like to pause the video here, but be rest assured that I will be jumping right in the comment section of this video to give you an update on what our expectation is going to be like after monitoring how participants in this market will be reacting to this current structure during the early hours of the week. I hope this video has been of immense help in making your personal decision on the GBP and if it did, kindly support this project by clicking the like button. You will also want to follow me on my TradingView platform at DarkSherry so that you don't miss out on the regular updates I normally share in the comment section of every video. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you right in the comment section as usual as we get prepared for the new week. Bye bye.